guys, every Wednesday I like to jump on here and share with you some business tips for wine glass painting parties and running your own wine glass painting business. And today we're going to talk a little bit about contracts, whether you should have one or not and what type you should have. So contracts are actually pretty handy. And mostly I like to do my contracts specifically for private events. And a contract with, and that's for, it could be an online event or it could be an in-person event. But for all private events, I like to have a contract. And it could be a really simple contract, just basically going over what it is, what's it going to be, what they're going to get for for the price, how many people, if there's a minimum, if there's a deposit or whatever required, or dates, cancellation, that kind of thing, or refunds. So it's really good to just have that all written out, because sometimes you might think one thing and then someone might think something else. And then it's just great to have the context that clears up any questions of, what was what. And then also they might not realize, hey, I didn't realize that, you didn't bring tables. I thought you were going to bring tables, blah, blah. So in the contract, you can have everything laid out simply and easily for them to see. And then always have them sign that prior to the event. Don't wait to the day of the event to have them sign it. When you're actually booking it, it's a great time to have them sign the contract. And if you're doing it online or even just, remote, you can have them e-sign the contract, which is a nice thing to do. So you don't have to worry about physically signing it and having to send it back. But if you just don't have the programs for that, you can also just email it to them. They can always sign it and then they can scan it or fax it back to you, something like that. But again, for private events, I really recommend having just a really simple one-page contract with just laying out all the details. Is really what it's going to be about. So it's easy for you to remember what you are doing for them, and for them to know what they're going to get for the party. So for that, it's great. So definitely for the private events, always do that contract. And for venues is another subject for in-person classes with venues. Some people always ask me, do you do a contract with venues? Do you have an agreement when you go to do like the mobile parties, when you have a event at the venue? Do you have a contract? So for that, I would actually generally say no. For venues, you don't really need to have a contract with that. Mostly it's like a verbal or a email type written contract. It's not anything like a formal thing. It's more of just an agreement. So you don't really need to have an agreement with your venues or a written contract. If you want to, that's perfectly fine. You can just write up a quick contract and just say, hey, I'm going to come out on these days, and this is what I'm going to bring, and this is what you're going to allow me to use your space, or whatever they agree upon. So you can do that. But generally, it's really just a lot easier to just do the conversation in email. Then you have all the details in email. So just make sure you discuss with them all the details, so that everything's written down either in email form or even over the phone. Just make sure that you write down what's agreed upon. So again, for venues, I don't think it's necessary to have the written contract, but if you want to, that's just an extra thing that you can do. So anyways, that's just some little tips about contracts and what my thoughts of contracts are. And then I will see you guys next week with some more business tips for wine glass painting parties. Thanks.